Carlos Tavares, the top guy at Stellantis, which owns Jeep, has just made a big splash in the car world. He's questioning the rush to electric vehicles, and his bold words are causing quite a buzz. EV makers are upset, but regular car fans are agreeing. Tavares' statements bring up some big questions. Why is he doubtful about EVs? Are there things about electrification that leaders aren't telling us? And what major challenge has he put to all EV manufacturers? Let's find out. Tavares has issued a warning that challenges the widespread perception of electric vehicles as a comprehensive solution to automotive environmental concerns. His statement, made at the Stellantis Freedom of Mobility Forum, casts significant doubt on the feasibility and sustainability of the mass adoption of EVs. Tavares highlighted a critical issue facing the EV industry: the scarcity of essential raw materials like lithium, which is crucial for manufacturing EV batteries. The transition to replace 1.3 billion internal combustion engine vehicles with electric ones requires an enormous amount of these materials, potentially more than the Earth can provide. The challenges extend to the complexities of geopolitics and mining regulations. Getting lithium and other necessary materials for EV production involves going through a complicated landscape of international politics and environmental considerations. The process of setting up new lithium mining operations, for instance, could take up to a decade, significantly impeding the pace of the EV transition. This scarcity and the logistical hurdles in securing essential materials raise serious concerns about the sustainability of widespread EV adoption. Tavares warns that the current push for EVs might lead to unforeseen environmental consequences, including increased greenhouse gas emissions, if not managed with a realistic view of resource limitations. Despite Stellantis' significant investment in electric vehicles, Tavares' insights suggest a cautious approach. The company's ambitious plans, including a partnership with Samsung for an EV battery factory, depend on the optimistic assumption of an adequate supply of raw materials, an assumption that is now being questioned. The CEO of Stellantis has raised significant concerns about the economic viability of electric vehicles, highlighting the cost implications that could have far-reaching effects on consumers and the auto industry. In his eye-opening analysis, Tavares pointed out that the production costs for electric vehicles are substantially higher than those for traditional internal combustion engine cars by as much as 40%. This significant difference in production costs is a crucial factor that could impede the widespread adoption of EVs. The implication of these higher costs is profound. Electric vehicles, which are already priced higher than their gas-powered counterparts, could become even more expensive. This cost increase poses a serious threat to the affordability of EVs for the average consumer. Tavares' warning suggests that such high production costs might lead to a drastic reduction in the customer base for EVs, particularly affecting the middle class. The dream of accessible and affordable electric vehicles for the average consumer may remain elusive, especially if the additional costs cannot be absorbed by automakers. Tavares' concerns are echoed by other industry leaders as well. For instance, the CEO of Mercedes-Benz has warned that EVs will become pricier if production scales up without an improved supply chain. The current trajectory indicates a trend where electric vehicles, despite their environmental benefits, might become a less viable option for a significant portion of the market due to cost barriers. This cost challenge is compounded by the subsidies and incentives currently in place to promote EV adoption. Tavares raises a critical point about the sustainability of these financial supports. If EVs are reliant on subsidies to be competitively priced, what happens when these incentives are rolled back? There's a risk that the middle class could find themselves priced out of the EV market, posing a significant challenge to the goal of widespread electrification of personal transport. Tavares has brought to light a pressing dilemma in the shift towards electrification: the clash between environmental aspirations and the practical challenges of achieving them. This conflict is at the heart of the current debate over the future of EVs and the automotive industry's role in combating climate change. Tavares has critically examined the push for a rapid transition to EVs, warning of potentially detrimental environmental impacts if not managed thoughtfully. One of his major concerns is that the haste to phase out combustion engines could lead to increased greenhouse gas emissions. This counterintuitive outcome stems from the challenges in responsibly allocating limited lithium resources, essential for EV batteries. The Stellantis CEO's insights reveal a tough picture where environmental goals, such as reducing carbon emissions, might be compromised by the unintended consequences of well-meaning policies. For instance, the proposed bans on combustion engines by the European Union and some U.S. states could inadvertently lead to higher emissions if the shift to electric mobility is not supported by a sustainable and reliable supply of raw materials and efficient production processes. Furthermore, Tavares highlights the practical challenges in achieving these environmental goals. Extracting lithium, as we've mentioned before, is a complex task, often mired in regulatory and environmental concerns. As such, the transition to EVs requires a careful balance between the urgency of environmental objectives and the realities of material supply and technological capabilities. Germany's decision to vote down the combustion ban, favoring allowances for future green fuels, illustrates the growing recognition of these complexities. It suggests a need for more nuanced and flexible approaches to vehicle electrification, ones that consider the full spectrum of environmental and practical implications. Jeep is adopting a cautious approach towards electrification amid prevailing market uncertainties. This strategy reflects a deep understanding of the difficult challenges and risks associated with the rapid shift to electric mobility. Jeep, a brand renowned for its rugged and durable vehicles, is treading carefully in the EV sector. This prudence is partly influenced by the broader industry concerns about the current state of EV technology and infrastructure, as well as market readiness. Jeep's approach acknowledges that while there is a strong push towards EVs, several factors such as consumer acceptance, technological maturity, and economic feasibility remain in flux. The company's strategy indicates an awareness of the high production costs associated with EVs and the potential impact on consumer affordability. Jeep's leadership recognizes that rushing into the EV market without addressing these economic and technological challenges could jeopardize the brand's reputation and financial stability. This is especially pertinent given the brand's historical consumer base, which may not align seamlessly with the typical EV market demographic. Jeep's tentative stance also reflects a sensitivity to the potential ramifications of global policy shifts on EV adoption. The brand seems to be weighing the implications of political changes, such as the US presidential election and European parliamentary election, on the pace of transition to electric cars. These political outcomes could significantly influence consumer attitudes and regulatory environments, impacting the EV market's trajectory. Moreover, Jeep's cautious approach is likely informed by the industry-wide struggle to balance the aspirations of electrification with the realities of market demand and supply chain constraints. As EVs become more prevalent, automakers are grappling with the inflated costs of battery materials and the complications of establishing a robust and sustainable EV supply chain. The road ahead for the automotive industry, particularly in the context of transitioning to electric vehicles, involves striking a critical balance between ambitious climate goals and the implementation of realistic, practical solutions. Tavares has emphasized the need for this balance, acknowledging the difficulties of shifting towards a more sustainable future while considering the current technological and economic constraints. Tavares suggests a pragmatic approach to vehicle electrification. One of his proposals includes mandating that every new vehicle have a minimum zero-emission range, which could be an effective middle ground. This requirement, focusing on partial electrification, could be a more attainable and affordable solution for the mass market. It addresses the immediate need for reduced emissions, while acknowledging that a complete transition to full EVs might not be feasible in the short term due to various challenges. This recommendation particularly makes sense considering that the majority of daily commutes and drives are relatively short distances. By ensuring that vehicles can cover these distances on electric power alone, significant emission reductions can be achieved without the need for a full switch to EVs. This approach also reduces the pressure on the supply chain for EV batteries and other related materials, which are currently facing significant challenges in terms of availability and sustainability. Tavares' strategy reflects a broader industry need to adapt to evolving technologies and market conditions. It suggests that automakers should consider a range of solutions, including hybrid models and advancements in fuel efficiency for internal combustion engines, as part of the journey towards a greener future. This balanced perspective is crucial for ensuring that the automotive industry's transition to lower emissions does not come at the expense of economic viability and consumer accessibility. It underscores the importance of developing diverse, innovative solutions that can cater to varying market needs and preferences. So, that's our take on the huge warning from Jeep's CEO about EVs. What do you think about the push to ban combustion engines and the challenges facing electric vehicles? Share your thoughts in the comments below.